Welcome to Widener's Weather Wagers with Sam. Good to see you.
What can I say? We missed you. We missed you. And by we, I mean I, because I guess I'm the only person that can miss you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So it's good to be back, and we can get right to it here and do a little recap of another winning week for us without my help.
Yeah. It'd be nice if you could, win once in a while, like I do all the time now. I mean, what can I say? I'll just put it right up on the screen. Get another dustpan and brush 2-0. I mean, Cowboys team over. Thought for a little while we could get screwed by Maher.
I couldn't believe that as I was watching it. I mean, it just, I think of just you betting it, and all right, one missed extra point. I'm like, that's a big missed extra point, that first one, because 24 versus 23, we got 23 and a half. Then when the second missed extra point happened, I'm like, okay, well, that one really don't much matter, I guess, but it's just kind of funny. And then it happened 4 times. And
we needed 4 touchdowns to win over 23 and a half. 4 touchdowns. You could win over 23 and a half with 2 touchdowns, theoretically. We needed 4, but easy winner. The Cowboys, like I said, the offense clicked over 23 and a half, about as easy does her. It was nice. And another, I think, relatively easy win, sweat-free win was my over. And now, granted, I think all the games, but that Cowboys game went over, but the Jags Chargers over, it was a big comeback. Don't get me wrong. And it was the team I like to win it, but it was a high scoring game. I thought it would be sort over, no problem. So a relatively sweat free 2-0, 14-7. That's 2 out of 3. That's 66%. I mean,
your percentage really has jumped the last couple of weeks here. So
and I need that, because let's put this up on the screen. Oh no, another loss for Under Mike.
Oh, look at that, 23-9.
I mean, he's still 23-9, but he's coming off back-to-back winless weeks.
If weather was an exact science, and I could predict every game, I wouldn't be here doing this. So
you would, because you're a man of the people. So
yeah.
What was your play last week that didn't quite get home for us?
Yeah, that was a rough one. I mean, it wasn't close. That was the Seattle-San Francisco game. It went way over. Had really no chance. Unfortunately, the weather all week was pretty much the same. It didn't really change much all week. Everything was kind of leading towards a pretty heavier rain during the game and a little bit of wind. Unfortunately, basically the day of, if you looked at it in the morning, you would have seen that all the rain is going to be out of there before the game. Now, it still did look like there was going to be some showers and maybe some a little bit heavier rain popping up for the second half, but that didn't come together either. And honestly, when I bet that, I like the under just regardless of the weather. I think the last few times those teams played, they stayed under, and I like that regardless. So I wasn't going to change anything the day of and try to do anything there, but it didn't happen. You can't win
there's going to be losses, like I said before. Nothing, nobody bats 100. Nobody bats even what we're batting right now in the long term for the most part. But I liked Seattle early in the season. That was one of my plays. Seattle at home against Purdy on a primetime game, and I did not bet Seattle in this game. But I was regretting not betting them early on, because they were really taking it to San Fran. They were putting up points. And they won by 18, San Fran, but it was a lot closer than that. Yeah. And but San Fran did end up covering, and it soared over. So combined, that makes us 37-16. I don't believe any of our losses were with extra juice. That would mean that we are 37 and we're 37-16. If you factor in the 10% minus 110, we're 37 and 17.6. That's 19.4 units over.
Solid.
over 500. That would mean for $100 better, you're up 1940. $1,000 better, you're up 19,400. $1 million better. I mean, they probably exist. But
It sounds good.
yeah,
I mean, it's going well. Really enjoying it too. It's a lot of fun, and looking forward to keep doing this. And
yeah.
I think we'll get through the playoffs here, and then, like you said, we got some other stuff lined up for the other leagues, and I think by the time the NFL starts next year, we'll be back better than ever. And subscribe, like, follow.
Yeah, I have it scrolling and up here because everybody knows you can follow me at the real SCAV. But you can follow Mike as well on Twitter at UnderMike626. He will release a lot of plays on there for both of us. So subscribe to those, and then subscribe at YouTube to Widener's Weather Wagers. That's going to get you the videos put up always right into your feed there on YouTube, and you can watch these wonderful videos. So let's talk a little bit about this week here.
Yeah.
And we can discuss your thoughts.
Start. It's got a little interesting today. The models changed a little as I was looking at everything today. 2 of these games are going to see some snow, it looks like. Unfortunately, there's not going to be a lot of wind with this system. So first of all, we got the Saturday games. Jacksonville at Kansas City at 4:30 on Saturday Eastern time. It looks like there is going to be some snow. It might start out as rain in Kansas City. Probably going to be right about during the game, and probably some snow. It looks to be in the lighter side right now and not a lot of wind. I don't think it's really going to affect anything. You got 2 pretty strong offenses there. Kansas City, I think they're going to roll, but
it's a bad spot. It's a bad spot for my Jags and Dougie P.
Yeah.
Two former Eagles coaches going at it. I'll be rooting for the Jags, but yeah, I agree with you. Even though I'm wearing the Kansas City Chief color here. But yeah, it's a really bad spot. That was an emotional outpouring for that comeback.
Yeah.
And now you got a team that's rested, and they got Mahomes, and but a big step forward this year for the Jags and Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I think they take it. They make it to the final 8, and who knows? They go out there, give it a shot, see what happens, and but yeah, and the other game would be the one I'm looking at is the Cincinnati Buffalo game. That same system is going to be moving east, and there's going to be a stronger system forming kind of closer to the coast, but it's going to wrap in some snow into Buffalo. Looks about the same kind of timing, like kind of right about where the game starts, maybe a little bit before. There's going to be some snow, I think, on the lighter side in the Buffalo. Again, not that windy. It's not going to be super cold. It's probably going to be at freezing, a little bit above freezing. It might even mix with a little rain there too. Right now, it just doesn't look like anything that's going to be – it's not going to drop 3-4 inches of snow during the game, and the field's going to get all complete messy like couple of those games we saw at one college game we saw earlier this year. That was fun. I forget what that was, but
yeah, Akron and Buffalo or something like that.
I forget. Yeah, it was something you told me about a live bet it and won easily. That's from Michigan, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been looking here.
It's not going to be anything like that. So, and I said before, Josh Allen, he not much affects him. He has a very strong arm. If there's
turns the ball over a lot in that last game, better watch out.
What's that?
He turned the ball over last week a lot.
He has been turning the ball over more. That's one thing to keep an eye on. But as of now, there might be some weather, but it's not anything where I can make a play yet. And if anything changes, I'll tweet it out. From what I've seen, the lines haven't really adjusted at all. There doesn't seem to be any major plays at this point on it. The totals are pretty high for the final 4 games like this. A lot of times you see defenses prevailing in some cases, but these totals are all really high. You got the Chiefs at 53 and the Bills game at 48 right now, Eagles game at 48, and 49ers at 46. So I don't know.
Yeah.
With all the scoring last week, I'm thinking there's going to be some unders this week, but that's just my thought right now, and nothing that I can play post right now because of the weather.
I'd love to be able to, like if you were looking for a lean for me, I lean the Chiefs. Bills, Bengals, I don't know. To me, that's just the two. That's gonna be an emotional game. There's talks that Hamlin's gonna show up, and and Buffalo just hasn't played great, or didn't play great last week. Cincy didn't play great either. But I think Cincy's gonna be awfully motivated as well because they really got screwed in this whole Hamlin thing. If they win that game, they'd be at home for this game. And I get, an awful thing happened, but they're essentially being penalized for it, which makes no sense because they made that whole clause about the playing on a neutral field for Chiefs Bills or whatever. But why is this game not on a neutral field then? Because it would have flipped as well. So I don't know. I couldn't play anything there. We go to the NFC. If they weren't my team, I would love the Eagles. Because this is a spot everybody I'm seeing, I think Square folks and everybody is jumping all over the Giants because the Giants played last week and they scored a ton of points and they beat the Vikings, and the game in week 18 was close. The one before that was not that close, and this line 7.5, I think it opened 8.5 possibly. They're begging for you to take the Giants. I feel like with that 7.5, 8. And I don't know. I mean, I said if it wasn't for being my team, I try not to jinx my team. I'm a big Eagles fan. I would be taking the Eagles. However, my play that I'm going to give out on this recording here that'll go up tonight on January the 18th it's going to sound a little bit redundant maybe from last week, but it's slightly different. Dallas Cowboys, okay? But it's not the team total, which last week I gave out at 23.5. It's Dallas Cowboys team touchdowns, and we're doing that to avoid Maher. Because, listen to this. So if you play the team touchdowns and it's 2.5, okay? So on DraftKings, team touchdowns, Dallas Cowboys over 2.5. It's plus 118, which is great too. Versus you could play the over 20.5 on DraftKings, which again isn't a bad play. I'm not saying that because 20.5 you could win a variety of ways. You could win with 2 touchdowns and 3 field goals. So that's not that's I think it's minus 115 over 20.5. That would be my second favorite play if you're looking to play it. But my official play is going to be over 2.5 touchdowns, plus 118 on DraftKings. If you don't like that or you hate betting team touchdowns, play the over 20.5. You'll just lay more juice and you'll get the benefit of the field goals, but also the possible detriment of the extra points. The team total on FanDuel is 21.5. So there's actually a 21.5 on FanDuel and a 20.5 on Dallas Cowboys. No, I'm not recommending betting both ways because you only have one number to hit on, so the odds aren't good enough to land on 21.
Good number.
Yeah, it's a good number, but it's not enough. Yeah. Maybe if you have like a $500 free play at both or something, you could do that. If you're just trying to, but so I said I'm an Eagles fan, but the Cowboys have been the team I've feared all year as an Eagles fan, the team that I thought was the biggest threat. I was at one point partway into the year going in just fearful of Tampa Bay just because they have Tom Brady. They had some really good wide receivers, but their offensive line fell apart. And by the end of the year, I was no longer scared of them. The Giants are the hot team, but not scared of them. The Cowboys have always been it in the NFC. They have some dynamic playmakers on defense. They have CeeDee Lamb, a great receiver. Schultz is a good tight end. The second running back on the team is the by far better running back. Tony Pollard is way better than Zeke. But Jerry makes them split, but still two really good running backs overall.
Yeah.
So that's the team. I mean, I know the 49ers, have a good defense, and Bosa could wreak havoc on Dak, but I like it better. And again, I know we didn't need it last week. We could have just played the Cowboys with the points and been fine. Or Cowboys, I'm sorry, Cowboys minus the points and been fine. But getting 3.5 in my order of how I would like it, I would play first my over 2.5 touchdowns, second my over 20.5, and third the plus 3.5. As good as the Cowboys have looked, the 49ers have looked pretty darn well as well, pretty darn good as well. And it's one of those things. It could be a close game and you lose by 6 or 7, 10, and you don't cover that 3.5. Whereas I think the Cowboys offense right now is clicking, and I see them 3 touchdowns. I don't see how they don't get 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. The San Fran defense doesn't seem like it has been kind of up to their standard the last couple weeks from what I've seen. I don't know. They've given up some plays. And,
maybe you also get lucky too, or maybe not even lucky. Maybe Purdy in a big game comes back there a little bit and sets up a short field. Maybe Micah gets a strip sack, and maybe he damn well picks it up and scores. Then you only need 2 touchdowns on offense. So that's my one play. I might release another one, but officially, and I'll put it up here on the screen for those of you that are watching us muted because you hate hearing us talk. Dallas is going to be over 2.5 team touchdowns, and that's plus 118 at DraftKings. So you can see it here on the screen, or you can't because it didn't save. No, wait, hold on. There you go. So that's a Dallas. That's my play right there. And if we hit that, we add a little positive juice.
A little juicy juice.
And that'll help too, because if I go 1-0, and maybe I'll go 2, I might come up with another play, and Mike will tweet it out. And Mike comes up with a play, and he goes 0-1. If I win and Mike loses, we actually come out plus if he plays minus 110, a normally juiced game. So now that I have the hot hand, I feel let's
stay with it. Let's roll with it.
I feel good.
It's your time. It's your time. I don't got as many games to work with here. My time is kind of a little earlier in the fall. We got a big college football slate. The weather's changing. You get more wind. Now we're just kind of in the winter, and you need like a big storm to hit the right place, and it's not going to always happen. So I'm not going to force anything. I'm going to let you be the star here. And
I feel like a young man.
Play. You never know, but let's see.
I feel just like a young man coming in for a quickie. So you have anything else?
Nothing else from my side. It's like I said, it's good to be back. It's good doing this again, and we will look forward to a good football weekend. Can't wait. Any plans?
It's a great weekend. Just watching. I'll be in town watching not in the town of Philadelphia, but I'll be in town watching the Birds Giants. We'll see how that goes. It'll probably depend how liquored up I get, or what liquor it is. I did drink a lot of bourbon this past weekend in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yes, that's right.
So maybe it's some more bourbon, or maybe I'll switch it up and go vodka. I'm diverse. Canadian whiskey. I
remember the Phillies in the World Series not too long ago, and you were pretty vodka'd up that night when we saw you there. So
yeah,
you take this shit seriously, and we like that about you.
You gotta take it seriously. So that's all I have. So I'm glad
good.
Back this week.
All good. All right. Well, we will sign off and be back again next week. See you later.
Later.